Guys, it's finally happened. We have had some absolutely god-awful games this year in Gollum, Avatar Quest for Balance, and Kong Skull Island, but they all have one thing in common. IGN rated every single one of them with a 3. There has not been a single game that has been rated below the fabled 3. That is, until now.
Hi, welcome to Chili's.
But of course, IGN isn't exactly a reliable source nowadays. So I decided it was time for me to conduct my own research into Walking Dead Destinies to find out if it really is the worst game of the year by hunting down the Platinum Trophy. Before we get started, I have a special request for all you beautiful people. I would love to end 2023 with 5k subscribers on this channel, and we're well over halfway there, so if you haven't already, please do subscribe and help me reach my goal. But without much further ado, welcome to this week's Endorphin Hunt. Let's get into it. So, let me start by explaining what this game actually is. Essentially, it's a retelling of the first 4 seasons of the show in video game format. In total, there are 5 acts to play through, each containing their own episodes. But to spice things up a bit, the developers have included moments that allow the player to choose their destiny, which basically means you make a decision that affects a key moment in the storyline, like being able to kill Rick and make Shane the leader of the group, for example. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, that sounds delightful. I love the idea of playing through my favorite TV series and exploring the what-if scenarios. Oh, you poor misguided soul. The amount of people in my chat who were Walking Dead fans and told me that this game genuinely offended them to their core was hilarious. For me at least. Anyways, let's jump in. The first episode of the game sees us playing as Rick. Nah, isn't he adorable? And escaping from the hospital we wake up in. We learn the basic controls of the game, including becoming invincible when we roll, for some reason, before we escape out of the parking lot and earn our first trophy of the run, Invisible, for not being seen by any zomboys. And that's the first episode. 1 hour's worth of TV content distilled into 3 minutes of gameplay. And for the second interesting choice from the development team, check out these beautifully crafted cutscenes. Look at your fucking face. What is that? What the fuck is that?
Hey you, what's that bandage for? Did you get bit?
Bit?
These are
No, I got shot.
PNGs. What?
You even know what's going on?
I'm a cop. Woke up today in the hospital. That's all I know.
Well.
There are a few walkers on the street after the barricade. But let's get you some
No,
clothes
your
before
mouth
we
doesn't
deal with
move. I love it. I love that they didn't even bother fucking animating the mouth. Oh, the audacity. I respect it slightly. In episode 2, we learn how to fight back against the walkers, which brings with it a whole host of trophies. To start with, we have Kill the Brain for stabbing our first walker, and then Are You Crazy for killing every zombie around the car at the end of the episode. Just a heads up here, even though you may very well have already realized, we're going to be moving through the hunt quite quickly in this video without delving into the story too much. And that's because there are a lot of trophies and the story is shit. In a similar fashion to my Avatar video, if you're already a fan of the series, then you know the story anyway. But if you're not, well, this game tells it in such a strange and confusing way that it would be doing the series a disservice to recollect it. Anyways, back to the hunt. And continuing the speedy unlock tradition, in episode 3 we managed to snag 4 more trophies. The episode sees us trying to progress through an overrun city as Rick, before he gets trapped in a tank and we switch to Glenn to save him. While playing as Rick, we unlock Right Between the Eyes for stabbing 10 walkers in a row, which is so easy it's laughable. Then, when we switch to Glenn, we earn Well Prepared for finding all of the skill points in the level. And don't worry, I'll be talking about the skill points more a little bit later in the video. We do the old switcheroo once more back to Rick, and manage to grab Last Breath for killing a walker with a tired, out of stamina attack. And then, finally, we find ourselves faced with our first Destiny choice of the game. we come across an altercation between two characters, Merle and T-Dog, in which Merle is being a racist piece of shit, and we have to decide whether to try and de-escalate the situation or just handcuff Merle. Of course, we handcuff Merle, because fuck that guy, unlocking Destiny, Merle or T-Dog, and making T-Dog a member of our group. Thankfully, these choices only have one trophy each, rather than having separate trophies for both choices. I initially thought that would mean I wouldn't have to play through this game a second time, but, well, more on that later. For now though, let me dazzle you beautiful people with the skill tree component of this game. As you saw earlier, we collect skill points mainly from finding random things dotted around the episodes, which give you an ungodly amount of points per find, to be honest. In the skill tree itself, each character has their own set of abilities to be unlocked which provide universal benefits to anyone we're currently playing as, which is pretty good to be fair. But if a character leaves your group through either a destiny choice or kicking the bucket, any abilities of theirs you haven't acquired will be forever locked. With the amount of skill points on offer in this game, it was unbelievably easy to burn through these unlocks, and at one point, I found myself with almost 400 skill points in the bank, but no more abilities left to unlock. As for the trophies, well, there's only one to be unlocked here, learning the ropes for unlocking 10 perks. Nice and easy. Moving on to episode 4, we now get to play as Shane. Nah, isn't he adorable as well? Who's been getting smoochy with Rick's wife. Whilst tasked with finding food, we come across a new variety of walker in the wild, the Screamer. These are basically former Karens who will immediately start yelling for the manager as soon as they see you, drawing all the other walkers around them to your location to see what all the fuss is about, and maybe get a killer video for TikTok. Now, if the walkers were a threat, then this may be a problem, but honestly, even by episode 4, I'd realized how easily I could dispatch enemies, so this wasn't actually that bad in the end. We progress through the level and, after stabbing 10 walkers in the noggin undetected, earn Getting By Well. Shane then returns back to camp stocked with food to find his reward, the sight of Rick hugging his new squeeze. Life just isn't fair, is it? Wish.com Shane. With the episode now over, we're introduced to two more absolutely pointless components of this game. The first is the HQ, a base that you roam between episodes in which you'll find a conflict between a couple of characters that needs to be resolved. But the kicker here is that it really doesn't matter which choice you make because it has zero effect on the progression of the game. Whichever choice you make, you're given a few skill points, a give me a break from one of the two characters, and a slap on the ass from the game to send you on your way. And then the second pointless thing to deal with are the expeditions. But before that, I made a choice which actually affected the game and made it 1,000 times better. Alright, I can't anymore. I can't with this fucking film game. Okay, that looks better. It doesn't look much better, but it looks better. Now nothing is vibrating and I can actually see fucking 2 centimeters in front of my face. I am so sorry that I had it on for this long. Anyway, as you're loading into the next episode from the HQ, you are required to select an expedition that will occur alongside it. You normally get a few options each time, and they each have a different amount of skill points up for grabs depending on if you make a good decision or a bad decision. And as we load into episode 5, let me show you what making that decision actually entails. What's going on? Daryl, shit's gone silent. Stragglers led us to a big herd. Now we're pinned. Might need some backup. Stay put will send help. Fight your way out. Stay put will send help? Yeah, stay put will send help. It's literally a 50-50 guess. There is no rhyme or reason to it whatsoever. And apparently on this occasion, I had made the correct choice and so earned good call as a reward. Unfortunately, there are many more of those to deal with, so we'll return to them later. Maybe you're right, Griff. Maybe you're right. Anyway, another episode, another few trophies. Our challenge in this one is to protect the RV from walkers and prevent its health from falling below 30% to unlock safety first. Which, honestly, you'd have to just stand and pick your nose to actually fail this one. We also then grab Sheriff for killing 6 enemies with the revolver without reloading, and then Welcome to the Apocalypse for driving off into the sunset and finishing Act 1. Moving swiftly on to Act 2, our survivors have now taken residence in the middle of a motorway, where they face their greatest challenge yet, the stupidity of a child.
Sophia!
Stay here. I got her.
I got her. While searching for Sophia, Rick gets the chance to live out his heavy rain fantasy.
Sophia! Sophia! Sophia!
And we get the chance to unlock a few more trophies. The first is Lumberjack, which we earn for chopping off 10 heads with the fire axe in this episode. Then, after finding a shotgun and laying waste to some undead fools, we unlock No Waste for killing 4 enemies without reloading, and 2 for 1 for shooting 2 heads with 1 bullet. We do then manage to find Sophia, but after Carl apparently gets shot by a deer, Sophia disappears once again. The survivors make their way to a nearby farm to treat Carl, and episode 7 sees Shane and Maggie exploring a nearby high school to find medical supplies. Our trophy challenge in this episode is to kill 15 enemies with the sniper rifle in the gym, but because Shane is an absolute numpty who apparently couldn't handle his own at all, we actually don't manage to achieve this one. This was the first and only, by the way, challenge that we didn't cross off as we went, which, I can't lie, absolutely screws us later on in the hunt, for reasons I'll get into. Thankfully, we do manage to unlock a few other trophies to make up for it. We make our first bad expedition decision and earn bad call as a result, and then shoot a screaming walker in the head while it's being a Karen to earn shut up. I'll admit, I did like that one. The episode then ends with another Destiny decision, to save Maggie or grab the medical supplies to save Carl back at the farm. And you cannot tell me that this here doesn't look exactly like those crappy mobile ads that always pop up while you're playing Candy Crush. How much do we like Carl? We don't know Carl. We've seen him once get shot by a deer. But then again, we don't know Maggie. So it's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Let's leave Maggie to die. Why not? Destiny, Carl, Maggie, or Beth?
I'm sorry. It has to be this way.
Shane! No!
They were biting her ass. Our next episode sees us playing as Shane in a flashback of leaving Rick in the hospital, and for some reason there isn't a trophy challenge for this one. So we instead kill 5 enemies with the sniper rifle without zooming out to earn Zoned In. This episode is notable, however, for introducing us to human enemies for the first time. Now, earlier in the game, we are warned that these human enemies are smarter, faster, and stronger. This is what that actually looks like.
Fast as fuck, boy. Still fast as...
There you go, bye. Say goodbye to your head. Woo! We move swiftly through the rest of the episode, no problem, and then progress on to the next, which sees us clearing the walkers out of the barn on the farm. We unlock No Mercy for killing 3 crawlers with the pistol, before tackling the challenge of the episode, killing all of the walkers in the barn without taking damage. Which, once I discovered this exploit, so if I walk away and come back, ammo resets. I walk away, I come back.
Lock and load.
Yeah.
More ammo's always welcome.
Was an absolute walk in the park, and we had Rage unlocked in no time. Now apparently there has been some tension bubbling over in the background between Rick and Shane. I guess because Shane is mad that Rick didn't actually die because he wanted to boink his wife? And it's time for that tension to be dealt with. Shane takes Rick out to a field and declares that he is a better man, so Rick should die, which seems totally logical. But the choice of who actually dies is down to us, as the game presents us with the decision. And because Shane is absolutely batshit crazy, I chose Rick to be the survivor, unlocking Destiny, Rick or Shane. After a fight between the two, during which they absolutely pepper each other with bullets, Rick manages to stab Shane, which apparently kills him, despite Shane taking revolver shots earlier like an absolute champ. As the farm burns down and the survivors manage to escape, we earn Survival of the Fittest for completing Act 2. But then I realized my chat were very mad at my decision to save Rick over Shane. Alright, well, fuck, I can go back and do it. If everyone wants me to do it, I can go back and do it. Yeah, I think that takes me back. Nah, leave it. Oh, it's too fucking late now. So, after picking Shane as the leader and going through the entire fight again, we deviated from the TV series and cemented Shane as our leader. And we also unlocked Cold Blood for completing the fight in under 3 minutes, so I guess there was some benefit to the replay. Because honestly, the story and the cutscenes are the same either way, just with a reskin of the main character and a different voice to listen to. So much for choosing your own destiny, right game? The survivors make their way to their final base of the game, the abandoned prison. Our first task is to clear the walkers out to ensure the group's safety, and like Shane's flashback episode earlier in the game, this one also has no trophy challenge up for grabs. Instead, we yeet a grenade into a group of walkers to earn Fire in the Dead. Later in the episode, we're confronted with another Destiny decision after finding an inmate of the prison called Andrew. Choosing to send him away rather than allowing him to stay with the group, we unlock Destiny, Carol, or Laurie. Interestingly, the effects of this decision don't coalesce until the next episode, which we quickly move on to. 6 sees us playing as Hershey's Chocolate and hunting down the weapons from the security room of the prison. Along the way, we also find a machine gun and use it to mow down 5 enemies in 10 seconds, unlocking Now We're Talking. And then, with no more trophies left to grab over the next half hour or so of gameplay, we speed through the story instead. Hershey's Chocolate gets munched by some walkers, we kill Andrew with Shane, Laurie dies while giving birth to the baby, and Daryl gets captured while saving a new member of the group, Michonne. Once all of this is done, we complete Act 3 and unlock Kill the Dead. Act 4 kicks off with one of the most tedious episodes of the game, requiring us to literally just follow the governor around as he gives us a tour of Woodbury. Yay! Along the way, we grab all of the skill points we can find and unlock You Talk Way Too Much for doing so. The episode ends with us making another Destiny choice, slaying or sparing the governor's zombified daughter. We choose to stab a bitch in the head and earn Destiny, Philip Blake, or Governor for our bloodlust. With the compound now on high alert, our next trophy tasks us with finishing the Hounded episode without becoming broken. I'll be honest here, I have absolutely no idea what broken means, so I figured just not dying would probably be enough for the trophy, and upon finishing the level without a scratch, we earn Focused. For the next few episodes, the only trophies we unlock are related to the challenges for each one. In When the Dead Come Knocking, we earn Guns Blazing for only killing enemies with firearms. The Suicide King hits us with what I thought would be one of the hardest trophies in the game, winning the pit fight without dodging. But in reality, this is what that looked like. So this is the pit fight, I'm guessing? Win the duel. Alright.
Gotta get rid of those walkers. Boy, they're hungry. Thanks, Mom. You ready to have your inside shootout? Watch out for those walkers. This shit's about to get real.
That was it? That was the trophy? Are you joking? The survivors then storm Woodbury to save Daryl, and after destroying some military vehicles and escaping, we finish Act 4 and unlock Woodbury. And then we kick off the final act of the game in style by killing 10 walkers by the fence in under 60 seconds, earning Efficient for doing so. At this point, I realized that I still had a lot of combat-related trophies that I had to unlock, so I turned my attention to crossing some of these off my list. The first required me to explode 15 heads with the crowbar's light attacks, unlocking Touché. And then we had Heavyweight, another trophy which I thought was going to be an absolute pain in the ass, because it required me to kill a strong walker with only melee attacks. When we'd been introduced to these enemies earlier in the game, they had absolutely tanked my shotgun bullets without even batting an eye, so I figured melee attacks would do next to royal fuck all in damage. But by simply equipping a sledgehammer for this mission, we unlock the trophy after about 3 hits. Don't worry, it makes 0 sense to me as well. But now, we move on to a couple of trophies that actually did give me pause. The first was Shadow, which required me to complete clear without being hit by Morgan. Basically, I needed to traverse the open space here whilst avoiding Morgan's sniper shots, and I'm not kidding when I say that this one trophy took me the best part of an hour. I don't know why, but I just kept screwing it up, getting overrun by walkers that would push me out into the open, choosing the wrong path, or just generally being a dumbass in my decisions and getting pelted over and over again. Eventually though, after employing every brain cell at my disposal, we pushed through and the trophy finally popped. And then we moved on to the This Sorrowful Life episode, which had been threatening my entire run since the beginning of the game. When I first loaded up this masterpiece, I very quickly noticed that no one had actually unlocked the platinum. With a bit of research, I found out why. This one trophy called Thick Skin was also sitting on a 0% unlock rate. The question is, why? The trophy required you to kill enemies in a variety of different ways during the episode, so it didn't seem like it should be causing that many issues. Maybe everyone else was just dumb. Maybe we would be the first to unlock it. Let's start with you. Let's get an execution. Boom. There we are. So that's a stab, sorry. Now we need a melee. And then... there we are. Oh my god, why are you aiming to the left? There we go. Oh, are you an explodey dude? Does that count? That should count. There's not been a single grenade. No. Ooh. Yes. Yes. So then theoretically... I did it. I've done it. What do you mean? Oh, don't be bugged for me. Unless I have to do it with one character? That would be annoying as fuck if I did have to do that.
My blood is boiling.
Oh, there it is. Thick Skin, the trophy I was so fucking worried about. For some reason, the firearm one didn't register originally. Alright, full disclosure here, I wasn't actually the first to unlock it. Basically, the trophy was bugged when the game first launched, and actually just before I loaded it up for my second playthrough, the developers released a patch which fixed it. However, I did almost cry when it didn't pop the first time. And now, thankfully, it was pretty much plain sailing until the end of the game. We make our 5th correct expedition choice and earn Plan Ahead for doing so, before moving on to our final Destiny choice, which tasks us with deciding the fate of Glenn and Michonne. I killed Glenn, guys. I'm sorry. But we do earn Destiny, Glenn, or Michonne, so he died for the cause at least. Which brings us on to the final mission of the game and my realization that I still hadn't unlocked any of the trophies related to dying in the game. That's right, I was in the final episode and I hadn't actually even come close to dying a single time, to give you an idea of just how good this game is. So when the governor pulls up in a literal tank and threatens to blast us into oblivion, we decide to let him. Now the health system in this game is actually a bit more complex than I initially thought, and there are a couple more trophies up for grabs here. When you find yourself at low health, you'll enter into one of two conditions, wrathful or panicked. During wrathful, you are not able to do anything other than run away, and once the anger has apparently subsided, we earn anger management. The panic state, however, allows you to dodge to help you escape. When we survive this state as well, we're rewarded with mindfulness. And then there was only one thing left to do. Okay, now I need to die.
That thing hits me, I'm done for.
Come on! Do it! Hit me! Bro, just die. Why is it so hard to die? Please. Finally! We destroy the tank and then have one final showdown with the governor, ending with us relieving his body of its head. And here you would think that the game would end, right? Nope. For some reason, the developers decided that we needed this random extra section of Michonne killing some more walkers before we escape from the prison for good. Hey Alexa, what's the definition of overstaying your welcome? To be fair though, this does give us an opportunity to mop up a couple more combat trophies. By chopping off 10 heads with the katana, we unlock Headhunter. And then by doing the same thing with the machete, we're rewarded with machete kills, before we make our way to the finale of the game. There you go, Fear for the Living, the game is done. That was the ending. I think the game broke. That's such a perfect ending to this masterpiece that I'm not even going to bother to show you what the actual ending is. And with that, The Walking Dead Destinies has been completed. Well, the story has, at least, but we still need 4 more trophies before that sweet, sweet platinum. Luckily, I know exactly where each one can be grabbed. So if we just hop back into some specific episodes, we can... Now, let me hit you with some facts here. I get continue, new game, options, or credits. Those are the options I have in this here main menu. Now, if you would notice, there is one that is majorly missing that would be very helpful to me in this scenario to get that trophy, which is the level select, which you can't do. Can't choose your level. Which means, ladies and gentlemen, we have to start the game again. As a great man once said, ah shit, here we go again. Just a quick PSA before we get into it though, for any game developer out there. Unless you want gamers outside your studio with pitchforks and torches, include a fucking chapter select feature, especially if your game is a royal stinking pile of doo-doo like this one. Thankfully, we now knew how to progress through the game as quickly as possible, and so in just under an hour, we reached the bloodletting episode. Here we grabbed a sledgehammer and used it to explode 15 heads, unlocking blunt force, before moving on to kill 15 walkers with the sniper rifle and unlock I Got Your Back. Unfortunately, it then took us another hour of gameplay before we were able to tackle the next 2 trophies. In the background, we'd been chipping away at our first one by making bad expedition choices wherever we could. Eventually, we made our 5th bad decision and were rewarded with Bad Planner. It really makes me laugh that they had the word planner in these trophy names, as if you actually had an influence over whether they went well or not. In reality, they may as well have gotten Two-Face from Batman in and flipped a coin on my behalf. But now, finally, we are at the final stretch of our hunt. Our final trophy tasked us with performing an execution with every melee weapon in the game. Now, I was pretty sure I had already done this in my first playthrough, but there it was, frustratingly still locked away. It wasn't frustrating because this was a difficult task, but because one of the required weapons was the katana, which we don't gain access to until we find Michonne in the game well into Act 3. Yay! Throughout my second playthrough, I was so neurotic with wanting to prove that I'd done this already that I was physically crossing off each weapon as I performed an execution so I could keep track of it myself. And then, just after unlocking Bad Planner, we reached Michonne and, with only the katana's execution left to perform, this happened. I want it to end. Yes! Yes! It's done! Oh my god, I'm so fucking happy with that. Beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. And there we have it. After one too many playthroughs, multiple game crashes, and possibly one of the worst endings in gaming history, I can finally say that our Walking Dead Destinies Platinum Hunt is completed. So, the question I'm sure you're already typing in the comments. Is this game actually the worst game of the year? Did IGN get it right? Well, after fully completing it, I can say, hand on heart, no, it is not. Does that mean the game is good? Abso-fucking-lutely not. The game is absolute nonsense, to put it kindly. It takes the story of The Walking Dead and somehow finds a way to make it even more boring, It includes cutscenes that are literal PNGs with a slight resemblance to the actual characters, and regularly wastes your time with tasks that have a whopping 0% effect on the story itself. But with all that being said, there is one redeeming quality that stops this game from earning Worst Game of the Year, in my opinion, and that is how fun it is to just mow down group after group of walkers. That's literally all the enemies are there for in this game, for you to expel all of the anger and frustration you feel towards the developers of the game in a reasonably healthy way. There is just something so satisfying about seeing the heads pop, one after the other, with a single bullet each time. But you can get that thrill in most other zombie-themed games, like Left 4 Dead, World War Z, Dead Island, etc. So I wouldn't actually recommend this game based on that small win. In fact, I would unequivocally beg you not to touch this game with a barge pole. Seriously, you'd be better off taking the $50 this game costs. That's right, $50, going outside and then just yeeting that cash into the drain. You'd get as much enjoyment out of it, I promise. As for the Platinum Hunt, this game basically just throws trophies at you every chance it gets, which, honestly, I'm thankful for. There are a couple which require a little bit more effort than the rest, but as long as you're paying attention to what each trophy requires you to do as you're playing through, there won't be any that will actually trip you up. But again, do not buy this game. Set $5, $10 bills on fire if you're that keen to waste your money. So, before we finish up this video, what game of 2023 does deserve the title of the worst, if not this one? Well, after playing my fair share of these atrocities, I can 100% say that the title goes to Skull Island: The Rise of Kong. And if you haven't already checked out my video on that one, you can find a link to it in the comments below. And with that, there's nothing else left to say, but thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, and if you want to support me as a creator and help me reach 5k subs, please do consider subscribing to the channel. If you're interested in watching more of my content, you can check out the link in the corner of the screen, and do let me know in the comments if there are any other games you want to see me play. I also want to give a quick shout out to my Patreon members. You guys are instrumental in helping me continue pursuing content as my full-time career, so a huge thank you to every single one of you. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day and, of course, happy hunting.